Hey everyone, so in this episode, this is the red 24inch Tecumseh powered snowblower. It's episode 2, so episode 1 was mostly the carburetor, the diagnostics, going over it. Don't forget to check out that video somewhere over here. Yeah, check that one out because you're going to want to. I went through the carburetor completely, so if you've got an older Tecumseh and you really want to go through that carburetor and make sure that you're going to be able to get that thing whistle perfect, you know, whistle clean and super perfect. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. Check that video out. These are getting older, so sometimes just popping the bowl off and spraying some spritz up underneath it isn't really going to cut it. This video is going to take this machine the rest of the way. We're going to finish it. We do got to test it. We got to go through the lubrication on this whole machine. We got to fix the tires, and we're going to go into the transmission and the axles, and I'm going to show you guys what I like to do there, so we can take that whole machine to the point where it is just done, right? Ready for, well, probably several years, and certainly ready for this winter. Stay tuned. Okay, and as part of the overall check of the machine, we see we've got shear pins here. These are the factory style, and we're just looking to see. I think I'm going to replace all of them. We're going to take them out. We see we're missing 2, okay? And one of them is stuck in there, which is one of the reasons why you want to use a real shear pin. Now, this is a 1/4 bolt, and you can use a bolt. That bolt's the wrong one. It's a hardened bolt. You would need, I would recommend brass. In a pinch, pick yourself up next time you're at the hardware store, pick yourself up something in brass or an ungraded bolt. But an ungraded bolt's problem is you don't have the notches cut in it, to help it to break sooner. So let me drive that one out. I'm just going to put a punch on that and just drive it straight through, and it should come right out. All right, guys, so I got in, these are the shear pins. And these are cheap, about $12 for me, 15 for what, 20, 22? And these are like the 1/4 type, CRAFTSMAN MTD. I'm going to read it out. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's an X002YRQ53J. And so you can actually just look for that part number. It should be on Amazon. And they came pretty quick. They are definitely in stock as of this video. I put a fresh plug in, 28 thousandths, a little bit of no-sees on the threads. And I do this for especially snowblowers. You saw how rusty that one was. So, how's it looking there? All right, I want to clean that out. Let me get a Q-tip. It's a little bit of that acid from cleaning the carburetor. That looks good now. That's better. Let's blow it. All right, I put some 2-stroke or something in there, or maybe there was the tranny fluid stuff. Make sure all the water's out of it. All right, then we got our white grease on. Why does it feel like it's... Yeah, I don't really like that. It's okay. It's on there. All right, make sure it stays down, because sometimes the white grease makes it lift up. Okay, if that happens, we'll run it. We'll keep an eye on it. If that happens, then just take a Q-tip and wipe where the rubber is, but not where the metal is, where the contacts are. We're not going to put fuel in it yet because we're going to turn it up on its face and get to the transmission and such. It will just leak out and make a mess, and it can screw up the float. So we'll come back to that in a bit. All right, guys, so I've already removed the bolts. So what we have on this one, it's just 4, and then there's like a catch over here, a slot. So we pulled those out of the way, and let me see, just be able to pull it right off. It's real clean in here. I think I was in here and may have washed it. I don't remember, but it's real clean. There's not a lot to do in here, mostly lubrication, and we're going to get to that in a minute. The next thing I want to do is get these tires off, because we need to be able to get them reseated anyway. Now there's usually Loctite on these bolts, so it may be hard to get them off. Let me see. We're probably going to want to put a little bit of Loctite on them. Yeah, let me try something different. But up here I'm going to use an impact. If you don't have an impact, then yeah, you're going to have to put it down and use the friction of the tire and everything and try to loosen up the bolt. Should be fine thread, 1/2 inch. I don't want to overheat it. There we go. And we're going to put a little blue lock on. Yeah, it's a fine thread. Put a little bit of blue lock on that when we're done, just a scotch. I'm going to use a little PB blaster or Croyle. I'm going to get it in a few spots while I'm here. Yep. Yep. Okay. That helped a lot, right? PB blaster works pretty good. It looks like they've been greased, except for back here. Okay. So the shafts, I just wiped them off. They're in really good shape, but I'm just going to spend a minute with my wire wheel or one of my wire wheels and go around. I might actually chuck up a different one. Let's see how this one works. This one's getting cracked. I got to buy some new ones. So winterizing a snowblower is really kind of just a term to saying you're getting it ready for the winter. You're getting ready to use it. So we've worked already on cleaning the carburetor out and trying to get the motor to run. And now it's time to do some lubrication in here. So we're going to use some chain wax, which is like my favorite, because it's going to go in as a real penetrant, but then it's going to wax up and provide some lubrication, and it protects things too. So we're going to start off up top and work our way down. These are just friction areas of friction. I'll try not to get my head in the way, right? Now, another thing we want to do is we want to be able to move this. All right. Let's just slowly get into that bearing area. Right, now let's move it. Do the same thing on the other side. Some of these have actual fittings, grease fittings on them. This one doesn't. So I'm just going to slowly rotate it. And that's pretty much all we need to do, right? It's that simple. Because this one's in good shape. So if it's in now, that'll stay as a liquid for a little bit, but it's going to very quickly become a wax. So it's not going to be moving around. So once it does a little bit of dripping, right, we'll get to the next step later, where we're going to clean it off and prep the clutch disc. So I'm just going to go over the teeth here. And it'll provide some lubrication, and also it's going to keep it from rusting. Kind of get the whole gear. All right, and there's a spot right in here, and a spot right in here, and don't forget the shafts. And we're going to get those from the other side too. So we'll get from this side. All right, we got a springs. Might as well do the springs. It'll coat the springs, keep them from rusting. All right, we can take this off now. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about getting anything on that because we're going to clean it. And now we're basically done with anything dripping. We kind of have to just poke underneath here, and there's a spot right there where the other side of this has a bearing. And same thing in here. You can just shove your tool, and it'll go down. There's a bearing that runs not the auger, but the impeller in here. And you can get quite a bit of lubricant on that. And that's it. We're done. All right. That's all it needs. That's all this one needs. There's a pivot. We got some pivots on the sides, and I'll point those out, but I'm going to hit them right now. We got some bearings and shafts on the sides. I'll point those out. So they have just basic bearing bushings in them. And then when we put it down, we're going to get to the other areas on the transmission, the clutch, you know, the belt area and pulley area when we put it down. That looks pretty good, okay? So I'm going to wipe all the sides off, and there's really no other spot to get to. So I got one here that I lubricated. We're getting into the bushing with the wax. You get your pulley here, pulley there. I want to get that bearing as well as the one on the other side, this and this and this. And then down in there. All right. All right, so to finish up in here, right, we're just going to use a little bit of brake cleaner. And I find brake cleaner to be some of the better stuff that you can use. I just want to wipe the rubber. And I find this is like the best for the rubber because you don't want to really kill this rubber. So we're just going to give it a good wipe. That's all. So, and you can see the black. That's just oxidized rubber and grease. And now we can clean off the disc. Now, in the past, I've used discs that are in bad shape. I've used my Alumibrite, because this is aluminium. But this one's not in bad shape. I can see these black lines on there, and we got to spin it. So we're going to have to reach underneath it to the side and move this. All right, it doesn't get stuck. Why is it stuck? I got to move that. I don't know why it's stuck. It shouldn't be stuck. Got to get all the grease off of it. Now, what we can do is put a little bit of Scotch-Brite on this because the rubber has actually left skid marks on that plate. But first we got to pull all of the junk off. Right, you see the rubber on that? All right, we're going to take care of that now. It's all degreased, but we got to get rid of that. All right, so I have a Scotch-Brite pad. I'm just going to put a little bit on. I don't need much. A little bit on the pad. And we're just going to massage it. Let's see if that takes it off. Yeah, it's getting rid of it. There it goes. And this will actually create like your very small scratches, like a polish more than anything else. And give it a little bit more bite. The only way to do it right now is to just grab it. It's something that's not going to slip, right? A rag or something. And just work it. Okay, that should be good. Give it a wipe. And I'll get you in for a real close look too. There's no grease on it. It's all polished up, ready for the winter, and has these very small scratches. You don't want anything that's going to really scratch it because you'll wear that rubber, and we want to make sure our rubbers stay good. So we don't want to ruin the rubber. That should do it. All right. That's it. I know the air compressor's on. So I got my grease on my shaft, and another good thing to do would maybe if you want, you can put your chain lube on, and probably the best thing would be to put a no-seize on, but no-seize would be better probably for tractors, but that's not really true. I mean, if you do this every year, every couple of years, it really doesn't matter what you put on. The idea is to get in here and do it. But let me put a little grease around that, and we'll slide on our bushing, right? And we'll kind of, a little grease on that and a little bit more grease on here before we put the tire on. Let's shake this up. I'm just going to put a little bit of our flat out in. It actually comes with a little valve. They should be paying me for this product. I should call them up and see. Maybe they can at least give me some, free product. I use it all the time. It's really good. So, and I'm just going to put some in and fill it back up again and shake it. Shake the tire around. Bring it up to 30 psi. That should be all. There's enough left in this container, I think, for the other tire. All right, we'll bring it up to 30. This way we know the bead is seated well, especially since it hasn't been stretched in a while. Like the bead has to be stretched, and it's been sitting so somewhat flat. It's a little over 30, yeah. Yep, 30. All right, I can put this one on. Like I said, we'll just do this for a minute. So this is the back side, and we can see the bead has been broke, right? And to make it easier, right, to get it back on again, we're going to take our soapy water, and I always keep this stuff around, and then we'll bring it Let me set it up over there. And I'll show you. Now, if it was on the machine, this would be really difficult to do. All right, I'm sick of listening to that. I'm sure you guys did too. I mean, I got to get new ones. I got to put them on a wish list. I think I have them on a wish list. All right, we should be able to just push it down. Let's just start off with giving a little push. We don't want to break the top bead, but just a little bit. Okay, there it goes. It's already filling up. Let me get we'll get it to 30 psi. All right, then that'll seat it. The rub is a little stiff, but it's been sitting in the shop, and the shop's getting warm now. Now again, if you tried to do this, almost, we want to stretch it. That should do it. If you tried to do this on the machine, most likely you'd be fighting it. All right, now I'm going to go bring it over to the table, and I'll take the valve out, I'll put my juice in, and then fill it up and shake it around, and we'll go mount these tires permanent, and we'll move to the next step. I'll see you guys then. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit of blue. I'm going to go put these on. I'm going to put them on with this guy so we don't over tighten them. All right, and that's it, because they'll back out on you. Yeah, I prefer the clips, but this machine doesn't have that. All right. Start the threads by hand. That's it. Do the other one, we're going to wipe them off. All right, cleaned it up. I put a little Loctite on these two, a little blue, because they're into sheet metal, and it's, you know, every time you take it out, it gets a little weaker. The vibrations make them fall out. All right, so we're all set here. Everything's lubed. Spin around the liquid in the tires. We'll just put a little bit of our chain wax up here on the handle, the pivots. Let me do the other one. And then we'll put it down. Anything I can get to now. Hold on, I think I see another spot. Kind of want to just walk around. See a spot down here. We'll put a little bit on that bearing. It'll help. I mean, they're usually sealed, but sometimes we can get into that spring, and yeah, I think that's it. I don't think we can get to anything else here. All right, so while it was up to, what I was able to do is get in underneath. You can get in from the top as well, just to put some more lube on. And we have a few other spots here we can do. There's a pivot here for the cable, little wheel. All right, and a couple other spots. We'll get in here, right? You can also get some into, these are like bearings. They don't have any way to get anything in. Okay, it's just bushings, but while we're here, we'll get to the other side of this. Get down into, there's a pivot down in there. Sort of just kind of rides on a washer. Okay, we don't want to get too much of it on the pulley. A little bit's okay. We'll put some on the seal. It'll burn off. And I think that's it. And we got this flapper, which I did already. And we got a spring. That's it. Well, those are the points I can see, guys. Now let's get some gas in it. We'll run it to get it warm, and then we'll dump the oil. It should run, but we need to test it. So we're going to prime it. Okay, we got Rabbit Run. Give it a bunch of primes. We have it set to full choke. Everything should be okay, so let's see what happens. All right, it's running really good. I just did a little bit of adjustment. I moved that needle out. You saw the RPMs change. The first time I did it, you heard that little stumble every now and then. Right? Well, when I pulled out that needle a little bit, it was excellent. Smoothed it out. And then when I screwed it in a little bit, you saw it stumble again, and I adjusted it one more time. That's as good as you're going to get it, okay? They will do that. It's running really good. Let's get the oil out of here. You probably can't see it well because it may not focus in this area. I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, it's not bad. All right, so here's a tip. So I like to get these paint mixing cups. A 32-ounce mixing cup. It's graduated a million ways to Sunday. This one I actually mixed some paint in and I cleaned it out. So I don't want to use it for things that, you know, I'm going to contaminate, whatever. But it's actually got it pretty clean. But it's an extra, and I got another one over there where I put my oil in, I mix fresh oil in. So here's a tip. If you're not really sure how much oil to put in, right, you don't want to put too much because then you got to get it out. And of course, not putting enough is not so bad because if you have a dipstick like this machine, it's not a problem. So we're going to take the old oil, and this is a good machine, and it was kept well, and so it's not like leaking oil or anything, so it was full, right? And as you can see, the oil shot. And a little bit of a rainbow in there, right? So this way we could measure how much we took out, and on this machine as well, it's easy to get the oil out. It doesn't make a big mess, and it doesn't go all over the place. So this is going to give us a really, really good, accurate starting point. And all we have to do is match up the numbers. So where are my numbers? Okay, here we go. So it is 20 ounces, right? Which is typical, right? For most of these machines, 20 ounces. And again, if you're not sure, right? Now I do these machines all the time. So on my other one, I have a mark at 20. Sometimes they take 24. I go a little bit below 20 on a lot of my machines because a lot of these machines you're pouring out through the dipstick. It's not coming out through a drain tube. So you don't know how much of the old oil you're getting out. Some of it gets left behind. So now I know 20 ounces. I'm going to go put some good oil in it and we'll be back in a bit. Okay, I've measured off my 20 ounces. I got some nice nutrition, and I'm just going to take my time. Check. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. That's the end of this one. It's a great machine. It's a beautiful machine. It came out really good, and I want to wish everybody a happy holidays, whatever it is you guys do. Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you guys do. Thanks for showing up, and we've had a good year here at Archer's Garage, and I'm going to try to make the next year coming up an even better one. So I don't know how many more videos I'll put out before the end of the year and before the holidays, but it is the holidays here at Archer's Garage, and we want to wish you guys a happy and safe holiday. So I'll see you guys on the next one, and remember, you know, if the women don't find you handsome, at least let them find you handy. Archer's Garage.